Mic check here for the folks on the chat. If you could let me know if you could hear me okay, I sure would appreciate it. Looking forward to going live at 11:10 p.m. That is in 9 minutes. So let me know if you could hear me on the chat, and we'll get going. Lot to talk about in this one. I'll tell you right now. Looking forward to it. Let me know in the chat if you could hear me okay. Test 1, 2. In the chat, please let me know if you could hear my audio. Would really appreciate it if someone could let me know. Thanks. How you doing, everybody? I'm Ken Bykoff, and welcome to the Peegs Postgame Live. Indiana's historic regular season comes to a historic ending with a historic ass kicking of the Purdue Boilermakers in the Old Oaken Bucket game. 66 to nothing is your final score as Indiana posts its largest margin of victory in a Big Ten game ever. It tied that record earlier this season against Nebraska, but they pushed it on this one. The Hoosiers started a little bit slow, down seven and rather up 7-0 in the first quarter, but then 21 points in the second quarter, 17 points in the third quarter, 21 points in the fourth quarter. That's 66 points along the way. Uh, Consider this: Purdue rushed for 13 yards on the day. Defensive lineman James Carpenter ran for 18 yards on the day. In other words, one of Indiana's defensive linemen ran for 18 more yards, 5 more yards than the Purdue Boilermakers did. In this one, as the Hoosiers outgained Purdue by more than 500 yards, 582 to 67. The numbers are just jaw dropping on this thing. I just absolutely thoroughly enjoy it. Let me know if you could hear me on the call in here, because the number 812-393-2600 is your number. The Hoosiers are off to just an amazing game in this one. It was absolutely incredible. Uh, Dominated Purdue in every single facet of the game. Just absolutely extraordinary. Again, the numbers are video game numbers. 582 total yards to just 67 for Purdue. Indiana 30 first downs versus 5 for Purdue. The Hoosiers just dominated this thing and never let off the gas. Curtis Rourke, 23 of 31, 349 yards, and a record tying 6 touchdown passes. Only been done twice before in IU history. Bob Hornschmeyer against Nebraska in 1943. I wrote a story about that back in 2013 for Inside Indiana. Trey Roberson did it in 2013 against these Boilermakers, and now Curtis Rourke adds his name to that list. Uh, Elijah Surratt, eight catches for 165 yards and 2 tutties. Uh, just dominating performance all around. 812-393-2600 is the number. And if you are here um, in the Memorial Stadium parking lot, I'm in lot 11, sitting by myself with a folding table. Have a live mic. Would love to hear from you. But first, we're going to hear from our first caller. Caller, if you give your name, I know you've been on the line for a little while. Name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hi, this is Mary from Indianapolis.
Hi, Mary. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great.
Is it cold where you are?
Oh yeah, it's very cold where I am. Absolutely.
I was so happy to see all the fans that turned out. I was so worried that the stadium would be a little empty with the students being gone and the weather and the late game, but man, the fans really turned out, and just a huge shout out to Hoosier Nation for coming out for that game, right?
Absolutely. And the fact that they stuck around the way that they did for as long as they did, it emptied out in the second half, but it is really cold. It is really cold here, and it was snowy, but it was a great atmosphere, a lot of towels waving, and again, can't be upset with the outcome to say the least.
I mean, yeah, it was more delicious than anything we had on Thanksgiving or the next day or just great game. But I wanted to get your opinion on the. I don't know how much you geek out on the playoff scenarios, but by my calculations, IU is going to be seeded 10th. Maybe goes up one spot. Miami drops down a spot, and not a lot of movement above us based on today's results. IU gets seeded 10th and plays the seventh seed, which I think could very well be Ohio State or Notre Dame. Um, I kind of wanted your opinion on that. Which one would you rather go into Columbus and try to get the revenge, or have the fall season?
That's a good question, and I think that they'll try to maybe avoid just bringing back Ohio State if they can to have Indiana play them. That said, either one of those works for me because just getting into the tournament is the important part for this season, and we'll see how it plays out. But it's the simple fact of the matter is, to me, look, I'm not saying Indiana is better than Ohio State. We went head to head and we lost to Ohio State. I do know only one Big Ten team, only two Big Ten teams had um, only 0 or 1 losses, and well, Penn State I guess lost just the one. Bottom line is only one team today beat their rival. I know that much. But to me, I think that having Indiana at Notre Dame would be a hell of a thing for people to see. Avoiding this, a rematch with Ohio State, I think is important because these things are about ratings to a certain extent as well. But either one of those scenarios, seem likely, and I'm just looking forward to it. When I was sweating out here in September, I certainly never imagined that this is where we would get. And so, the fact that we're talking about this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim on the Fox Sports thought they would try to put the Big Ten teams together in the first round to try to weed them out so they didn't have too many Big Ten teams or SEC teams moving on. But I don't know anything about that stuff. So I would still like to see an IU Notre Dame. I think I looked it up since 1991, and that would just be seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it absolutely would, and I think that that's a game that fans would absolutely love. But if they want to put the Big Ten teams together, so be it. You got to go back to Columbus. I know that they're
Hey,
not trying to avoid rematches, that's for sure. So that to me is it's
yeah,
gonna be a ton of fun.
I would love a rematch. I've been loving your show, and thanks for doing it, and go Hoosiers.
Thanks so much, Mary. Really appreciate that. 812-393-2600 is the number. We have another call. The caller's been patient on the line. Caller, if you're giving your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey Ken, this is Russ from Reno. How's it going?
Doing real good. How are you?
Doing great. Just real excited about the game. One thing I think I wanted to mention though that looks like things broke with us with South Carolina being Clemson. There should not be a third ACC team getting in here, but the playoffs still is on the horizon for us. But even if we didn't make the playoffs, getting 11 wins, beating our rivals, getting both trophies that this season is unique no matter what.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely just house money for Indiana. Because again, you go into this season, you're not even imagining, anything like this. And for the struggles the program has had to be even in this discussion and to be legitimately in it is really really fantastic. And I'm just so excited to see what the Hoosiers are able to do. Normally, we're trying to count down to 6 wins. And this year we're talking college football playoffs and nearly doubled that. That's absolutely extraordinary to me.
Not exactly. I remember, booking my trip for the Rose Bowl in August, and really just hoping that we would be 2-0 for that game, so I wouldn't have to be going to, L.A. at 1-1. But we ended up here, and it's just been a great season. And thank you for everything that you've been doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the call and look forward to, we'll definitely do one after the college football playoff game. So I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. 812-393-2600 is the number. A couple of quick questions in the chat. If anyone know if Sig can coach other sports too? Yeah, there's definitely love the way he goes about things, and some of these programs around here are struggling a little bit in that area, to say the least. Thoughts on the old line pass protection tonight? Seemed like it was rough at first, but they adjusted and looked much better. Yeah, he was pressured a little bit, but Purdue played with some energy, and then IU stepped on their neck, and it was over with. So that was fun to say the least. Now this is um, it would be fun uh, to see just how this team could do. Uh, if they were able to get off to, it's not like they've had bad starts this year, but they certainly do warm up over time and just kind of impose their will on teams. And I think that that's a ton of fun to see, to say the least. 812-393-2600. Go to our next caller. Caller name, where you're from, what you got. Caller, can you hear me? All right, I think we lost that caller there, but we got another one in the queue. Name, where you're from, and what you've got.
Hi, Ken. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Hi, this is Sam. I got to call in earlier this past week right after the Louisville basketball game. Sure is nice to talk to you on a little bit of a different note.
Oh, absolutely. There's not a lot of frustration tonight, to say the least, if you're an IU fan.
That was about as much fun as you can have, aside from having some cold toes there at the end of the game. I never would have thought I'd have been sitting there for an 11-1 season. I've been going to a Memorial Stadium since the Mallory days, and man, was that fun. That was as much fun as that IU Louisville basketball game was a what I say, hot garbage.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Just so much fun. Curtis Rourke, 6 TDs. Uh, man, Sriracha 84-yard touchdown. Uh, just happy to be able to call you on this note. And then the little bit of Schadenfreude of that Michigan Ohio State game. And Ohio State had more fight after that game was over than they did during the uh, during the while the clock was running. Anyway, I'll take that Schadenfreude any day. And,
Well, like I
yeah,
said
just calling
earlier,
on you.
that caller that called last week and said IU sucks. All I know is that only one of IU and Ohio State beat their rival today, and we didn't have to squeak out 10 points against them. We put up 66. So there's that. And plus, when we played Michigan, we beat them. So head to head,
Yep.
maybe we struggle, but boy, we took care of business against them.
Well, my toes are warming up. I got a smile on my face. I just had to call because my last call during basketball game was so distasteful. I just wanted to call and be happy about it. So thanks, Ken. I hope you get warm. I hope you get home safe tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. 812-393-2600 is the number. Derby asks if I have a heater cranking in the lot of Memorial Stadium. I do not. I'm just sitting outside. But I grew up around Chicago, and so it's actually not too cold to me right now. So I feel good about that. I do get to have this is exciting. Later in the show, you're going to hear me. I'm going to pop some champagne. Now, the reason why I'm going to do that is in response to something that happened 17 years ago. After the Michigan game, one of our callers called in and reminded me that I gave him a bottle of champagne following the bucket game back in '07. And before the game, I gave it to him to celebrate a win or to drown his sorrows. And he said that he wanted to repay me the favor. So I promised him after that Michigan game that I'd pop the cork on this thing before we got off the air today. So really excited to be able to do that a little bit later. But right now, I'm going to try this. This is something that worked out. I'm going to see if I can't pull up Kurt Signetti's post-game press conference that he had that is now on the Peegs site. I'm going to go ahead and pull that down so that we can listen to that together because I haven't heard it yet. And so we'll be able to do that. I think we do. While that downloads onto my computer, we do have another call. So, caller, if you give me your name, where you're from, and what you got. 513 number.
Yes, it's Brett from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hi, Brett. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I just want to say that this was quite possibly the best IU football season that I've ever experienced in my 48 years. Not quite possibly, it actually 100% is.
Yeah, how could it not?
And my 14-year-old son watched the entire game tonight with me.
Awesome.
He hasn't watched an entire IU basketball game with me this year, but he watched this entire game with me. And that just says something about what SIG is doing for this program.
Yeah, that's first off, that's awesome, and I'm glad that you got to enjoy that. And just second, just um, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to watch them go ahead and do some things that have never been seen before. Like I said, it's the biggest margin of victory has ever had in a Big Ten game, and just history all over the place in this game. It's just a ton of fun, a ton of fun, and it is just really great that that's something that is coming along here. And just the success this season has had is just jaw dropping, to say the least.
We typically go to an IU football game and basketball game every year, but he hasn't even asked about basketball this year. He's like, when is the next IU football game we can go to?
Nice.
Like, the tides have turned.
Yeah, that's how you get
It's not something we ever expect.
that's how you get people involved, to say the least, and get the kids hooked, and then they become fans for life. And that has everything to do with Kurt Signetti. And I always wondered. We talked about it when I was on the call-in show on the radio. What is it first? What's going to come first? Is it the wins or the fans? And how does it work? Well, we got our answer real clearly this year. And you win, and they come, and that's how it goes. And it's great that you got to have that experience with your son.
Absolutely. I appreciate you doing this, and you have a great evening.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. 812-393-2600. We have the Kurt Signetti audio from his press conference. So let's go ahead and pull that in. Where is it? All right. And here's Kurt Signetti from his postgame press conference.
Quarterback created a lot of turnovers. I think they got an early first down on a PI call, and then I don't remember them getting another first down until the end of the half. So offensively, we made enough plays, but missed some opportunities too, but made some big plays. And so it's a tremendous win. We certainly made a statement again. Can't say enough about what this team has done between the white lines, but they're not satisfied. They're not done yet. They're not. They want more, and they're going to get more. So it's a rivalry game, and I thought we really took it to them, and that's that.
Is on your left, and Zach.
Yeah, Kurt, when you said statement, and I know you said you aren't paying close attention to the playoff rankings, but did you feel like you needed to more win the game, but win and win in a style, get style points to make a difference to the committee?
Well, I think we have the largest margin of victory of any team in the country up until last week. And I'm not sure where we were coming into this game because obviously we did not beat Ohio State. What I would say is most of the games we've played, we've handled the opponent pretty well where we wouldn't have the largest margin of victory in the country. But obviously style points are important this time of year, right? And that style points are earned, right? And but more than anything else, we wanted to play from the first play to the last play in a rivalry game that Indiana had not won in 4 or 5 years. And I thought we had a great crowd. We just about sold out to start, and some of them left at halftime. I guess they got a little cold, or I don't know what, but we'll fix that again. But I appreciate them all coming back. And, yeah, sure. I thought we had to play well tonight. I think we did.
Zach, on your left, and Matt.
Hey, Kurt, I know you say you're not paying too close of attention to the playoff, but, as other teams around the country have kind of dealt with upsets and close calls and things, I recognize you guys would have liked to have won last week, but just what has allowed this team to just be so consistent when it's had the opportunity to really roll up big numbers, to win decisively, to just kind of consistently not leave a lot of doubt, I guess?
I just think we have a lot of older guys that have made a lot of plays throughout their career consistently. They're very consistent people, high character. They have a very consistent standard performance. I think our assistant coaches do a nice job, a good job coaching them. And we preach about playing one play at a time, first play to last, like it's nothing, regardless of competitive circumstances. Never too high, never too low. Fast, physical, relentless, smart, disciplined boys. Our guys buy into that, and we've been fairly consistent this year.
Matt, on your left, and Tim.
Coach, obviously you mentioned players aren't satisfied, but just this group of seniors come from all over. Some have been here, a lot came in for 1 year. Just your thoughts on the job they did buying in, the culture they helped create, and the leadership they showed all year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on from the get-go, and like I told you guys a number of times, I really felt in December like we flipped the roster with these guys. Like, I felt that then. And winter was good, spring was good, summer was good, fall camp, but you got to it on the field. So, you know, when you got capable people that are very motivated, right, disciplined and committed, and all think alike, like they keep their eye on the bullseye. There's no personal agendas. Anything's possible. And you know, this group's proven it.
Same way you're left with Todd.
Coach, defense played outstanding. Jalen Walker had interception, a couple pass breakups, and forced fumble. Can you talk about his performance? And then on the other side of the ball, Curtis Rope has a single game record for touchdown passes. His bounce back performance in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've always considered Jalen Walker an impact player. I mean, he's a real linebacker that can fly, run and hit guy from Richmond, Virginia. He made some huge plays for us at JMU. And he's got a nose for the football, and nobody likes playing football more than that guy. And, you know, he's a tough guy to block, and he can do a lot of things. He's a great athlete. And Curtis, you know, he got sacked once or twice early in the game, and then we got it going, kind of got it humming, and he was right on the button. And we were getting some yards after the catch, protection shored up, so it was good to see that offense scoring points in bunches again.
So there's part of Kurt Signetti during his post-game press conference. Not the best audio that we've had for that, but certainly interesting to hear what he has to say. 812-393-2600 is the number. Lines are open. Get to some chat questions here, starting with Megan. Is Curtis Rourke entering the draft? He's out of eligibility, so he will be certainly somebody that's going to be available in the draft. And I think that he's kind of an interesting guy because he obviously has been effective this year, and he's been effective at Ohio University and all of that. He's going to look through it, and you know, there's a lot of very smart guys, very accurate guys that could um, at least find a spot in the NFL. You look at Nate Sudfeld, spent a lot of times, a lot of years in the NFL, didn't play a whole bunch, but he was smart and helped out. So there's always that possibility of him being able to find a spot on the roster. We'll see if he's able to do that. But yeah, he's out of eligibility, so there's that. That is just kind of the answer there. Some of the other questions or I guess comments. Jason says, "I'm just enjoying the Purdue beatdown," and really, you know, we've talked about college football playoff. We've talked about all that. We got to get to the game a little bit. Indiana's defense was fantastic in this one. Swarmed to the ball, held Purdue to just 13 rushing yards. Even if you talk about their running back, Maccabee had 14 carries for 21 yards, and that's it. That's an average of 1.5 yards per game, and that is obviously a really, really impressive number, to say the least. Then you have, you know, overall 67 total yards. Indiana dominated, held them 0 of 11 on third down. There was just no chance for them to do anything, and it showed. It really showed. The Hoosiers just absolutely crushed them, and it's so much fun to watch. 812-393-2600 is the number. Lines are open, and as long as you know, people are trying to call in, we'll have folks on. I am just looking over. The cold is taking a toll on some battery power out here. But we'll keep working on it as long as we can. Derby says rough year Purdue, but Walters hasn't even had a full recruiting class yet. These kind of beatings are tough to take, to say the least. So that's something that is going to be a struggle with this Purdue program. JM Sig goes 11-1, and Clappy's on the staff with the same record. That'll be in the Big Ten title game. That's he's taking a shot at Tom Allen there, and again, Tom Allen is a guy that just had a different style. I mean, it's that simple. He had a different style of coaching, and you know, it's a bit of a shame that it worked out the way that it did with him. But you know, I think Indiana is not unhappy with with what they got in Kurt Signetti. I don't feel any kind of negativity towards Tom Allen myself. He was really a good guy, somebody who's decent to deal with. I ain't going to complain about him very much at all. Some of the other chat questions here. Let's see. Damon says we don't match up well up front with OSU. Not many teams do, so I'm not going to worry about that. You just gotta battle the teams that you have in front of you, and the Hoosiers have always come to play this season, and even against Ohio State. Look, Indiana struggled, but they put up a fight in those two special teams touchdowns and their special teams miscues for IU really turned the tide of that game, and that's where it really fell apart for the Hoosiers. 812-393-2600 is the number. Also, again, if you're out here in Memorial Stadium, I see there's still plenty of traffic. Come visit me. Come visit me. I'm the one, the bald fat guy shivering in the parking lot with my Chicago Bears hat on, doing the best that we can here. And at least that was the positive of this week is look. That's a whole different call-in show to talk about the Chicago Bears with me. I'll tell you that much. 66-0. I got to admit that I came into this one expecting Indiana to win. I did not expect them to absolutely kick the hell out of them the way that they did. Yeah, I felt it was going to be a big score, but 66-0 is special in a season in which you also won a game 77-3. Yeah, I think it was 77-3. It's just a massive beating. I was told that it was the first shutout of Purdue since 1945. There was some discussion about that, and I never got a chance to double check that. But either way, historic night for the Hoosiers. Uh, in the run game, Indiana, look, Curtis Rourke threw for 349 and 6 touchdowns, but Indiana ran all over Purdue in this one as well. 233 yards on the ground for the Hoosiers on 44 carries. Justice Ellison, 11 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. Tyson Lawton, 10 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. Keelan Black, 7 carries for 34 yards. It just keeps going. Keyshawn Williams, 2 carries for 27 yards. Miles Price, carry for 22 yards. Taven Jackson, 3 carries, 20 yards, and a touchdown. You had James Carpenter run for one carry on a fake punt for 18 yards. By the way, the Purdue football team is heading off into the darkness right now as their 4 or 5 buses go on by. They don't have legs on the buses, so there's no tails tucked underneath there. But if they did, it would be. We have a caller. 812-393-2600 is the number. Caller, if you give me your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, Ken, this is Ryan from Bloomington. How you doing?
Good, Ryan. How are you doing? Did you enjoy Hawaii?
I am great. Oh, man, that was a fun one. Just great to finish off an amazing season. Finish off an amazing regular season with a great win. Beat the brains out of your arch rival there in Purdue. Don't get to do that very often. But just wanted to know what you thought our playoff stock. How this game affected our playoff stock, and also just wanted to hear your thoughts on IU running up the score there. And I thought that
there's no running up the score. No, there's no running up the score on a rival, and I don't think that there's really running up a score against a Big Ten opponent. This is a peer opponent, and so to me, there is no running it up on that.
I was gonna say, I think that score to make 66-0 was one of the most enjoyable ones I've seen as a Hoosier fan. So.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the college football playoffs, look, I don't think that Indiana is going to get a lot of help from the committee or anything. They're not going to go out of their way to try to help IU or boost them. They're going to look at IU and what they've done, and they're not going to do them any favors. They don't think that they've played anybody. That's the way that they've approached it the entire time, and beating the hell out of Purdue isn't going to change that attitude. My thing on it is that look, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. Indiana lost to Ohio State at Ohio State. So you're only allowed to play the opponents that are in front of you, and you're playing in a Power Four conference. If it said Alabama on our chest, Indiana would not be ranked 10th in the nation. It's that simple to me. There is a brand bias there, and you have it um, with with Notre Dame, you have it with Alabama, you have it with a lot of these other people. 11-1, you're in the conversation. You can't be unhappy about that.
Completely agree, Ken. Stay warm out there.
I'll do my best. Thanks a lot, Ryan. 812-393-2600 is your number. Spartacus on the chat says, obviously, this is an unbelievable year for IU football. Is there a defining moment for this season? Man, I don't know. That's a great question. It has been a ride along the way, and you didn't really have close games. And I really have to think about that. I'd really have to think about that because I'm just not sure exactly what it would be. On the chat, you tell me what it would be your defining moment for this one, and figure it out. I don't know. That's a beast of a question to ask right there. Um, Also, I feel pretty confident in this. I don't know it for sure, but I feel pretty confident that Spartacus was the best man at my wedding, and I feel pretty good about that. So we could talk about that more over some Guinness. I could tell you right now. 812-393-2600 is the number. Russell says between black and green, I'm excited about our running backs next year. Uh, Look, the way all those guys run, I love it. I absolutely love it. It is really really there's depth, and you have to think that after this season, that getting guys to come in and join the fray with everybody is going to be something that won't be too difficult for the Hoosiers. I think offensive line is going to be better. And I think that just Sig has shown what's possible at Indiana, and he could do it in his first year. He's going to bring more guys in. I see people saying beating Michigan, who beat Ohio State, the Michigan win. Defining moments either dominating Nebraska, or that's when we knew this was for real, or gutting out the Michigan game. Um, Maybe the defining moment for me, as I think about it, is Indiana on the road at Michigan State down 10-0, and you could see Sig going along to his players, letting them know it's fine. We got this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That to me, was one of those things. And again, I've said this before, Signetti, everything that he has told these guys since he got here has come true. So why the hell would they not believe him at this point? And they went right through it. Got another caller, 812-393-2600. Caller, if you give me your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hi, my name's Bob from Warsaw. I talked to you before years,
Yes.
but I was calling about the lack of respect from IU for national media. I don't happen to turn on a game that they tied, and they were talking about the Ohio State loss, and they incorrectly thought that we were going to be playing the championship with Oregon. So they speculated right away that we got blown out by Oregon. Would that help one of the SEC teams get past us?
Sure.
That so it's kind of the attitude, typical attitude of people that in the South that cover those teams.
Well, I think it's not even just the attitude of people from the South. Obviously, you have your SEC bias that is out there, but more importantly, a lot of national guys just don't watch IU. They don't know much about them, and so they dismiss them. And it's that simple. That's part of why Indiana dropped 5 spots in the rankings after losing to Ohio State. These guys that are either AP voters or the USA Today folks, they look at that result. They weren't watching the game. They don't know that a couple of special teams touchdowns are what made the difference. And you drop them 5. We got leapfrogged by I think it was Miami. Uh, with the game that they had won. We lost to Ohio State. They jumped over us. It is a lack of respect. But 11-1 is hard to turn your nose up at. What Plenty of people do, and they want the ESP. The folks at ESPN, a lot of national guys just think SEC invented football. I know this much: Georgia ends up winning a game last night that would have really hurt their chances in the college football playoff. And they get there because of a targeting call that wasn't called, and they reviewed it and they still didn't call the damn thing. And they end up winning in 8 overtimes, and somehow that's an impressive win. An 8 overtime win over Georgia Tech. That in a game that a lot of sketchy officiating, that kind of stuff really gets frustrating.
It's also the fact that it's like we're not allowed to get better through the program and be a part of it.
Oh yeah.
We were in Iowa, Wisconsin, somebody like that, Michigan State, and they wouldn't have a problem with that.
No, they don't know. It's Indiana, so it's not going to make a difference. Well, Signetti is here to knock on to rattle the cages of the big boys. He said it on the court last December, and he said, Miami, or rather, Purdue sucks, but so does Ohio State and Michigan, and he beat two of them, and and Ohio State uh, has a ton more talent than Indiana on paper, but the Hoosiers played them real tough until the special teams fell apart. So I don't know. It's a we could beat that thing dead, but we'll find out who the next game is. And the fact that we're going to be part of the 12 that have a shot at a national championship is crazy and exciting to say the least.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate the call. 812-393-2600 is the number. Uh, we have JM says Miami is hot garbage. How many games did they win with the help of the officials? Miami is one of those teams that struggles along the way too, and didn't have anywhere near the struggles that IU there. I mean, hell, the Michigan game was the only close game Indiana played all year. And you have the Ohio State game. They played the number 2 team in the country. They at their place, and they gave them everything they could for a while before things started to fall apart. But that's just what you have to deal with. We got another caller here. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about some of my batteries out here in the cold. But caller, if you give me your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, this is Doug from Atlanta. I've called you before. Have you ever seen an IU defense or known of an IU defense that's been this dominant for a season?
No, not at all. Not at all. And Tom Allen's defense, when he was defensive coordinator, was really good, but this has been next level.
Yeah, I just have found it absolutely amazing how, and this is not to take away anything from Tom Allen. It's not. Tom is a good coach. He's obviously done a great job at Penn State. They continue to play very well. But I think this is just a very next level defense. And I would put our defense up against anybody in the country at this point. And that is a really strange thing for an IU fan to be able to say. And I'm excited about it, but it is surprising.
It sure is, and yet here we are, and he's doing some great things. Really appreciate the call.
Have a good one.
Take care. 812-393-2600 is the number. When I started this thing, the way that I'm I'm online right now has to do with um, using my phone as a hotspot, and that's how I've been able to do this. Um, my phone is at 100%. It's at 4 right now. It's cold out here, kids. Um, this thing has been a ton of fun, and I can't thank you all of you enough for the support that you've given me this year in my first year of doing this call-in show. We'll do it after the college football playoff. If I fall out of this thing, if all of a sudden I disappear, that is why, and I will do my best to not have that happen and try to wrap this up. But I got to tell you, I see Russell saying the UCLA win was special. How do you think Indiana does on National Signing Day? Any big surprises? I don't think about any big surprises. Sig's going to be focused on what they're doing with the keeping the season going. This is going to be a team that gets rebuilt through transfer portal, and so I don't know, about the big surprises, but it's really going to be something. Um, the recruiting momentum is going to certainly, just keep building up because that's just kind of how this team. Um, he has them headed in the right direction, and it is going to be fantastic to watch as they develop along the way. Uh, there's another little note here from Jason. He says he wants to point out that we were going to finish ahead of Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten standings, and also Indiana had 66 points, and Purdue had 67 yards, and that was something that we were tracking in the press box too. And it's really fantastic that we had that. Uh, so. I think that I'm going to go ahead. It is very cold out here. I appreciate all the calls. I hate to cut it short, but fact of the matter is, I think I'm going to lose my signal here real quick. So for Jason or Justin, who got a hold of me, here's your pop of the champagne that I promised you. I'd get this open if my hands work. Jesus Christ. Uh, I don't know if it's going to open. There you go. That's a good pop right there. All right, that's fantastic. I will stick around as best I can. I'm still at 4%, so I'm doing the best that I can. Uh, this has been such a fun season, and I'm excited to see it continue along the way. The Hoosiers have to wait to find out who the next team they have is going to be, but when you get to um, the get some time, go to Peegs.com and be sure to find out exactly um, you know all the coverage that you want for college football playoffs, and of course IU basketball as well, which is going to be something to see. And I'm going to continue to do this call-in show with IU basketball along the way because there's going to be plenty to talk about, to say the least. Indiana wins 66 to nothing against Purdue, finishes 11-1 on the season, and has a chance to go to 12-1 probably in the college football playoffs. No, they're not going to be in the Big Ten championship game, but they are uh, have taken us on a ride, haven't they? It has been so much fun to see this team develop. The way the defense changed immediately, the way the offense has dominated. It's been so exciting to watch. And I see Terry says, I live in SoCal and we're excited to be able to see our Hoosiers. I've been thrilled at getting calls from people all around the country. And that has been a ton of fun. Something that I couldn't have done on a radio show is be able to do that. So uh, the fact that I'm able to be heard all over the place is great. Uh, it's cold. Phone's hanging in at 4%. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down uh, and just say that's all the time we have on the Peegs post game this week. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to remind you to visit Peegs.com for the very best in IU football and basketball coverage you're going to find anywhere. Nobody covers Hoosier recruiting better than Jeff Rabjohns, Matt Weaver, Trevor Andershock, and Jared Kelly. So come be a part of a thriving and exciting community at Peegs.com. Folks, you are not going to be disappointed. Folks, we're out of time, but for now, and for Jeff, Matt, Trevor, and Jared, I'm Ken Bykoff saying thanks for listening, everybody.